Funding for DNews has been provided by the Cal and Lucille Rudman Institute for Entertainment Industry Studies.
Coming up, donuts, fried chicken, and chocolate on this episode of DNews.
Hello, and welcome to DNews. I'm John LaRussa. Do you have what it takes to be America's next top model? I got a chance to see for myself when the hit show came to Drexel's campus. Despite the weather, aspiring models of all kinds made their way to the urban annex.
We are here today doing America's Next Top Model Cycle 22 casting call for Philadelphia. As of right now, I believe it's 2 o'clock. We've probably seen over 500 people. There are still people waiting out in the snow. This cycle is no height limit. The age requirement is pretty large as well, and to top it off, it's both male and female.
In a packed house, women and men strutted their stuff. Some were pros.
I have been walking in Philly Fashion Week for about 3 years straight.
And some were fans who finally found the courage to compete.
I've been watching the TV show since I was like 10 years old, and I finally was old enough to come and actually try out for it.
I've watched the show for many years, bits and pieces of it.
So why do these wannabes think they have the goods?
I believe I'm America's Next Top Model because I'm going against all odds.
Because I am very spontaneous, I have a great personality, and I just know that the people will love me.
Because of my personality, because I am D'Angelo Davis and I am my unique self.
Even if you weren't D'Angelo Davis, you might believe.
I feel that I sort of have this look going on. I know I had a personality, the swag, the cool style.
And I've always wanted to be a model. I think I am very unique and different in a sense that, I know there's a million tall blonde girls out there, but I think I bring more to the table than just everybody else.
To find out who made the cut, be sure to tune in when America's Next Top Model returns to TV in September. In the meantime, you can visit cwphilly.com for more updates. For DNews, I'm John LaRussa. The Drexel police have been busy lately. They're not just fighting crime, they're also making us all aware of what crimes have been committed.
I'm here at the Drexel Police Station to talk to Eileen Baer about the Drexel Alert System. The system is designed to make students aware of an ongoing threat or problem on campus or around campus.
There's a robbery just occurred with a gun. The police get there. The police call back to headquarters here. They report there was just a robbery. We're looking for a male wearing a red coat. We take that information, we put it into that Drexel alert system that goes to everybody's phones and tells you there was just a robbery in this area, and we tell you that to make you aware, maybe to stay out of the area, or maybe that you see a man with a red coat running past you, you might want to get out of the way. It's to make you safe, to make you say stay out of the area.
Most of the time it works, but police say they have to be aware of overload.
In today's society, people think that the alerts should tell them or be used as a news release, and that's not what it's for. If we use too many alerts, people won't pay attention. So we have to be careful.
Every Drexel student and employee gets the alerts on their phones. So does the system help?
It is quite effective. It warns us about what is going on around campus, and it warns us if there's an emergency situation.
I think it's a good thing, but we get a lot of them, so sometimes it's kind of annoying. Kind of keeps me aware of what's going on campus or around campus, and that way I can, prepare myself to better protect myself, just being in a city environment. So I like the system.
We recently put out an alert for an advisory about someone trying to lure a woman away or into their car. We had another call from a woman said, hey, I had a similar experience. I didn't think about calling it. She was able to give us more information. We then had someone call in that thought they witnessed it. So the Drexel alerts sometimes help us get information from witnesses to help us start to begin to solve crimes. And we encourage that they call us when they see that alert.
To many on campus, it seems like the alerts are more frequent than ever.
We saw increases in vandalism. We saw increases in thefts. We saw minor increases in what we call non-aggravating assaults. In other words, harassment. They are still considered crimes by us that we investigate. So it's up slightly. Again, the good thing is it's not violent crimes.
Chief Bear says if you see anything remotely suspicious, don't hesitate to call the Drexel Police. For DNews, I'm Matt Yondell.
Need some comfort food? Federal Donuts can help. There are two choices, donuts and fried chicken?
Let's face it, the combination of fresh donuts and fried chicken is kinda wacky.
Mike Solomonov and Steve Cook, the owners of Zahav, wanted to open a fried chicken place, and the owners of Bodie, Tom Henneman and Bob Logue, wanted to open another coffee shop, but wanted one that served more substantial food than just sandwiches and pastries. So they got together and they said, well, let's do the coffee shop, and we'll do donuts, and let's do fried chicken too, why not?
Well, hats off to those guys, because Federal Donuts has become a huge success. It started as a small shop in South Philly and has now grown to 5 locations, including 33rd and Sansom. One of the reasons they've hit it big is their unusual flavors.
As of right now, the favorite is our blueberry mascarpone. It's been on the menu for quite some time. It's delicious sweet mascarpone glaze with a blueberry drizzle. But our newest addition to the fancy lineup, our grapefruit brulee, is definitely taking over.
Although the fancy donuts are definitely a treat, from what I could tell, the classic vanilla spice and cinnamon brown sugar are a customer go-to.
You know, I actually really like the hot and fresh. You know, I think a lot of people go with the fancies, and those are always changing, which is cool, but just a plain cinnamon sugar, hot and fresh is awesome.
Even though I wish I never had to stop talking about donuts, I think it's about time to give the finger-licking good fried chicken a chance to shine.
We do our fried chicken, it's twice fried Korean style, so we batter it, fry it once at a low temperature, and that sets the crust, cooks the chicken about 3/4 of the way through. And then we do it again to order. We'll drop it in the fryer at a higher temperature, and that makes it extra crispy and cooks it all the way through.
We watched Chef Matt glaze a few pieces of the fried chicken with the customer favorite, chili garlic. Then it was my turn to get my bird on. Yum. Fried chicken and donuts, keep it coming. For DNews, I'm Annette O'Malley.
Now, who doesn't love chocolate? At the Academy of Natural Sciences of Drexel, you can get a taste of chocolate's rich history, as well as its many flavors.
I'm here at Drexel Academy of Natural Sciences, where a chocolate exhibition was held, telling you everything you need to know about chocolate. You can stand under a life-size cacao tree and touch pods and seeds. You can even smell chocolate at this show.
The exhibition Chocolate came to us earlier this year. Is a really wonderful overview of the history of chocolate, and it also goes into the science of it. It begins with introducing you to the very interesting plants that cacao grows from. It's called Theobroma cacao. Theobroma actually means food of the gods, and I think that's pretty correct. So after you learn about how the plant grows, and it's a really interesting tree, you learn about how people have used it through history, and then at the very end there's a gift shop, and who doesn't like that?
The chocolate we eat and drink has a rich past and present that will surprise people.
Chocolate actually comes from a plant, which I think people maybe know, but you have to kind of activate that knowledge. So when they realize that it comes from a really interesting tree, and then secondarily learn about the really marvelous history of this bar, and then sort of how it's grown today and cultivated today, and ways in which it's impacting sustainability and the global economy and the way that people interact with their environment, it's really, really important for us to make good decisions about the food we eat, including chocolate. But the people who grow chocolate used to use just the beans as money. If you wanted to buy a tomato, how many seeds do you need? Just one. All right, cool. Nice.
This is my daughter Hazel and my daughter Olive. We came to see the chocolate exhibit. We enjoyed eating the chocolate probably more than anything else.
My personal favorite part of the exhibit is the very opening experience when you walk in and you're transported to the rainforest and you hear the sounds of the rainforest, and then there's this beautiful smell coming through the exhibit, which is really like a gorgeous chocolate smell, and you learn about the cacao plant and how important it is and how strange of a tree it is. And there's some really interesting facts that go along with it. For example, the reason why we think humans ever started to consume cacao was because we saw monkeys eating it without any ill effects, and so we knew it wasn't poison, so we decided to start eating it too.
Lucky for us. For DNews, I'm Lei Guo.
In a few weeks, there's going to be a new play on campus, and this one is hoping to turn some comic strip characters upside down.
They're working on Dog Sees God at the Black Box Theater. It's an unauthorized imagining of what might have happened to Charlie Brown and the rest of the Peanuts gang.
I like to describe this show as Peanuts characters all grown up, and it touches on a lot of issues within today's youth.
The play begins with right after Snoopy's death, which is a little example of things that are much bigger that happen later on.
Drexel professor and Dog Sees God director Bill Fenley says this Peanuts production promotes self-awareness and acceptance.
Really, the play is about 8 different characters who, in their own unique and particular way, are trying to figure out who they are, how to be authentic, how to own who they are in a world that doesn't necessarily welcome that.
Though the show features the Peanuts gang, these aren't the same characters you remember from the comic strip.
So I think it's kind of Peanuts-esque, but much more realistic. I don't think anybody has ever experienced anything like what we're about to put on.
Despite the show's departure from the original story, Fenley says it remains faithful to the vision of Peanuts creator Charles Schulz.
The thing that I connect with most is this idea of faith and not giving up. And this idea that if you keep trying, if you keep getting up to bat, if you keep going to kick the football, it will eventually get better.
You should see this show because it's fun, first of all, it's real, and you'll walk away, I guarantee you'll walk away from this show having a different outlook on certain things that you might not have even thought about before.
People should come see the show because it is unforgiving. It's totally in your face, but it's gonna be a party, and I'm really, really excited about it.
Dog Sees God runs from February 12th through the 21st, and tickets are $5 for Drexel students. For DNews, I'm Christine Piccirillo.
Some Drexel students have found a unique way to connect with the West Philadelphia community, through dance.
On a recent Saturday morning at Drexel University's Dorsett Center, Professor Valerie Eifield arrived early at the dance room. She's leading a group of Drexel students as they teach dance to the residents of the Mantua and Powerton Village communities.
The Dornsife Dance Program is a free dance program offered to residents in the Mantua and Powelton Village area by Drexel University's dance department. So we offer 8-week sessions of dance classes for youth ages 4 through 18 and senior adults, and the classes include creative movement, ballet, modern, hip-hop, choreography, and senior dance fitness.
The dance program is new, but it's already attracting attention.
So we just launched this winter term. So this is actually our second week of classes. We're so excited, and the interest has been overwhelming.
The Drexel dancers doing the teaching are inspired, and those 30 neighborhood students are inspired too. Professor Eifield says the Drexel students are doing this because they care.
All of the students involved are really willing to get involved. They're not getting class credit. They're not, there's nothing in it for them other than the opportunity to get to know their neighbors and work in the community.
I love to dance with them. It's one of my favorite things, especially like at the end we play freeze dance a lot, and I love to watch them come up with their creative movement and like how they want to move, because in class it's like, all right, I'm telling you how to move, but when at the end I love to see how they love to move.
It seems to be rewarding for the kids too. For DNews, I'm Auren Yang.
Our next story may make you see things at Drexel a little differently. Student Kenzie Lynch has to overcome the odds every day.
Meet Kenzie Lynch, a first-year business major with a daily challenge that most of us will never fully appreciate.
I've been visually impaired since birth. I was diagnosed with microphthalmia and sclerocornea, which has limited my vision to colors and shapes and shadows to a very close distance. And I've had this since I was born. It's a film over my cornea and underdeveloped eyes is what my diagnosis in a nutshell is. I try not to let my visual impairment dictate how I live, my quality of life. It's going to have an impact on some things I do, but I try and live as normal as possible. I've gone to public school, middle school, high school. I made it to Drexel, so I like to think I've lived a pretty relatively normal life for my circumstances.
Kenzie helps keep his world normal by being a tech junkie.
I have a laptop that's equipped with what's called JAWS. It's a speech package that it's a screen reader that reads things to me as they appear on the screen, different links, headings, buttons, things like that. This is the laptop that I use to do a majority of my homework on. So I search the web with a screen reader, and then when I go to do Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything like that, I use my iPhone. There's a feature called VoiceOver, which provides audible feedback as I touch the screen. I can do a number of different things.
Different things include being an avid social media user.
I definitely love Facebook, Twitter. I'm definitely there. Feel free to follow.
With a username like @GodLikesVariety, you might think he's infatuated with himself, but the name has a more universal meaning to Kenzie.
So I worked at McDonald's for 2 years, and one of my first days, I was working in the drive-thru, and this dad and their kid saw me working, and they were behind the register. And the kid asked their dad, "Daddy, why are his eyes closed?" And in response, the dad goes, "Well, because God likes variety."
And Kenzie has a variety of clever ways to get around Drexel's urban environment.
I call them landmarks. So there's like you'll see me, if you ever see me leave my dorm, there's little things that I'll use to know, okay, this is how I'm back on the right track. If you see me go to, for example, like Crossing Market, like I'll find a street post to know that I'm perfectly lined up and I'm not going to walk in the middle of the intersection when I cross the street. And when I'm listening to traffic, I have to listen to both directions. All right, when is this traffic stopping and this traffic starting?
He manages to keep in shape and keep in touch.
But in terms of hobbies, things like that, I love to run. I've actually done 2 marathons in the past 2 years. I did Philly back in 2013, the Philadelphia Marathon, and I did Chicago back in October, my freshman year. So I found running to be an outlet that really cools me down. I can clear my head, I can go for a run, I can really burn off some steam. If I've had a tough day, I can just go run 5, 6, 7 miles and feel fine.
In fact, he's such a mellow fellow that his peers often forget about his visual condition.
He blends in relatively well with the rest of us. You can't really tell without seeing him that he's blind. Like, he acts just like anybody else, which is good. I think that Kinsey, wherever he goes, is a pretty good contribution to the environment socially. Like, I think that he's a really fun kid to have around. I like him.
He honestly inspires me every single day. I am bothering him with a million questions. How do you do this? How do you hear the cars coming? How do you navigate the city? And what he does every day, I mean, he's chosen the hardest route, coming to school in a city, in Philadelphia, let alone, where, you know, he has to navigate all of the streets, and he is not faced with any adversity. He honestly just does it with such a loving heart, and he has so much determination and is honestly one of the most inspiring people I've ever met in my life, and I am so honored to call him one of my best friends.
All in all, the optimistic freshman possesses a can-do attitude.
I'm making life easier for future students that have my similar circumstances down the road. Because if I were to give up now, then that just fills a stereotype that's already been there, that, oh, visually impaired people might not be able to belong in an urban environment. You know, it may not be one of those, it may be one of those things where they don't fit in this sort of setting. So I feel like as a visually impaired student, it's a responsibility to not just myself, but to future visually impaired people, to my friends, to my family, to everyone that I value, to put my best effort in and know that whatever I put my name on, I've done the best I can to be successful at whatever it is that I do.
For DNews, I'm Rogelio Aguilar.
And finally tonight, a talented Drexel student is starting to make it big, on campus and at night spots across the region.
I started DJing or learning how to DJ when I was 18. I bought my first setup when I was 19. You know, I'm a typical college student. I go to Drexel University. You know, I have a job. I'm in a fraternity. Only really my close friends know about the DJing. It's really something that I go out and do on my own. And You know, a lot of people say they're DJs, a lot of people, you know, DJ house parties, but it's one thing to like get flown to Miami and to different states and get paid to play, especially in front of like larger crowds. Like, you know, played in front of 6,000 people before.
Dave isn't just in it for the money. He's extremely passionate about performing, which allows him to be very professional with his clients.
Usually when I'm hired to make the set, they have an expectation of the quality of music that I play. They know that I play a certain type of music, and most of the gigs that I book are through the event production company that I work for. They pay me to come to different places and play for events that they host. So I'll usually spend, you know, 10 to 15 hours a week just finding new music, downloading new music. So I'm always, like, you know, on the cutting edge of what's hot and what's not. I always have the newest music as it comes out, so when I go to a concert, I'm playing, you know, anything that the, you know, major DJs are, like, the caliber of music they're playing.
For Dave, performing live in front of thousands of fans is a feeling that will never be forgotten.
Really just like the energy of the crowd. There's really nothing like standing in front of, you know, 1,000, 2,000 people and have them, like, enjoy the music that you play. Supplying them with a good time, essentially. It's a really, you know, gratifying feeling.
Dave has performed alongside of major artists, and he cannot wait to see what the future has in store for him.
I played for Hardwell, I played for the EC Twins, Nicky Romero, I played for Nadia Ali, so some pretty, like, world-class artists. After I graduate, I definitely see this as being something that I'm going to spend a majority of my free time on. It's definitely a passion of mine that I see will be there until I'm, like, you know, too old to go do it.
This has been Ben Stephanitis for DNews.
That's a wrap for this episode of DNews. Look for us online at dutv.org. I'm John LaRussa, and thanks for watching.
The production of DNews has been made possible with the generous support of the Cal and Lucille Redmond Institute for Entertainment Industry Studies, the Office of University Communications, and the Antoinette Westfall College of Media Arts and Design.